Sawadee and welcome to another episode here for the Funkapod Mindful Media and Communication. And today we're talking about those lonely hearts out there and how you, if you're lonely, can find the love of your life. No, actually, that's not true. I'm talking about dating apps and not like which one are the best dating apps, or top 5 dating apps to get you laid, but more like how do dating apps actually get us to use them? And yeah, one is being needy and feeling lonely, but what else are they doing in terms of communication, media usage, and the like? Okay, so that's why I'm talking about dating apps today. And there are so many, so I don't just want to mention one, but you know all the big players out there. Okay, and to start things off, I do understand the how do I call it? The romance, the romantic battlefield out there where your soulmate might just be one swipe away. Or maybe your soulmate is even the one who ghosted you after this 3-hour conversation about your mutual love for avocados. Hey, LA folk. But it's frustrating, right? And who knew that finding true love would boil down to like the perfect combination of let's be honest, filtered selfies, right? And those witty one-liners. So swipe left if you're not into endless small talk and emoji abuse. Swipe right. Or super swipe. How do I know that? If you're into media and communication theory analysis. I worked long on that one. Let's jump right into it, because to be honest, I don't want to spend like 30 minutes on this. This episode is going to be like 20-ish minutes, because I don't want to think too much about loneliness, lonely, broken hearts, and sadness. But I do want to analyze it, because there's more to it than just being lonely, horny, or whatever you are when you're swiping left, right, up and down, and whatever else you're doing on those apps. Okay, and one theory that I think is super important, and that our friend Marshall McLuhan actually proposed way back in the day, and it's not the medium as the message this time. It's another one. Marshall McLuhan, very famous media theorist, had so many theories and so many ideas that still hold true up until today. And one that him, but also other researchers, of course, proposed, but he was a big proponent of it, was what we call now media ecology, right? And in media ecology, now the medium as the message does play into the whole thing, because McLuhan, as he said, suggested that the medium shapes and controls the scale and form of human, he said, association and action. Okay, so those apps as a medium, they influence the way we people communicate and form relationships. And I think the important part here is that, you know, how you use apps, like the dating apps are like Instagram, TikTok, and so on, right? The swiping, the up and down, whatever. Like the how you use things, how you communicate. It's more like on a social media app. And I think that influences the way we think about relationships. Relationships are just a game. It's all gamification, right? So left, right. Some apps even give you like extra points if you swipe right often enough. For example, hey, Badoo, research. And so they take away the seriousness of like what a relationship could be, maybe even should be, and gamify it more into something not serious. And I think that has big implications onto society, real life, if you will. And think about it yourself, like, are relationships still something that's serious, or is it more like, hey, and you send the same witty wrist up lines, look at me being cool, to like everybody, right? And you're just swiping right on everybody anyways. Like, just let's see what happens, right? So this suggests that the medium, being those apps, being very easy to access, being like gamified, that they take away some of the seriousness that maybe otherwise, if you would talk to someone outside in the real world, would imply more seriousness, right? Or it would take more courage, for example, to do. Okay, so that's like relates to the medium as the message, more or less, because the medium takes away all seriousness and gamifies it very much. And that leads me to the second theory that we discussed a lot on this podcast already, which is the use and gratification theory, right? We talked about this like, I wanted to say like 1,000 times and then realized I'm exaggerating. We talked about this, but at least 20 times on this podcast, okay? So use and gratification means I use something, whether that be like an app, whether that be like consuming the YouTube channel, Mr. Beast, whatever it might be. I consume it, I use it because it gives me something in return, whatever it might be, entertainment, education, money, whatever that might be, but it satisfies my need, okay? So now why and how do individuals like us actively seek out specific media to satisfy specific needs? Now you think about what kind of needs you have when you're using dating apps, okay? See, the teacher gives you like a few seconds to think. So, right? And certain dating apps, of course, have certain selling points, right? There are like dating apps like Tinder, which is like more like the hookup culture, I heard. And then there are others like Bumble who say like, hey, no, we're for genuine relationships, or coffee meets bagel or whatever you're using, right? And they focus like more on, no, we build real relationships. You have like a limit of how many people you can contact per day and the opening lines and whatnot. And you have to answer the same questions to build like genuine relationships and whatever, right? So different apps fulfill different needs. That's why there are so many, because as you probably know, if you're lonely, you're feeling different kinds of needs. Sometimes you feel like, I really want to meet my soulmate. It would be so nice to have a soulmate. And you open Coffee Meets Bagel or whatever. Not sponsored, would be open to it though. And if you're like, oh God, I'm lonely tonight, I want to just hook up with someone, you open Tinder, also not sponsored, also open for it. As examples, right? Or you open Instagram, also not sponsored, also. But you see what I'm saying, right? Use and gratification, different needs fulfilled by different apps. That's why there are so many. And in the end, they all belong to the same company. Heymatch.com. Okay? So that's important. Use and gratification. Okay. Now a funny one, not a funny one, but like just a funny name because it fits in the whole dating thing, is what we call theory number 3, social penetration theory. He said penetration in the dating episode. So relationships, they develop through like gradual like self-disclosure, right? So you have to self-disclose when you're using dating apps, and therefore apps like they facilitate or maybe even hinder the process depending on how you use it. Like some, they go all out, they put all the information like I'm this, I'm that, that's my, I'm INFTP, TTLM, AB, GDQ plus, whatever. I threw it all together right now, the gender specifics and the sexual orientation and like your personality test. I threw it all together, right? That was a joke. Don't cancel me. But yeah, so some people put it all on there, right? I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. That's my favorite, whatever. And some people are just like, man, I'm not putting anything out there, want to be more private, understandable. But if you want to get to know people, being super private, does it really help the process is the question. If you have a basically empty profile, just a picture of you, like, and for those listening, I'm making a weird face right now. I always make weird faces, but right now I'm making like a weird face to showcase it. That doesn't help, right? So the social penetration theory suggests that if you disclose yourself, you penetrate. I said it again. I'm 16 years old sometimes in my head. You penetrate socially with your own personality and throw it all out there and try to create social connections, or you don't. Then it's a hindrance to the process. Okay, so that's the social penetration theory. Last time I say it today. Okay. Now, a new one that we didn't talk about before, so I'm going to try to slow a little bit down. It's called the hyper-personal model of computer-mediated communication. Like what? Yes, IT tech right here at the Funky Pod. And so because we didn't talk about this yet, I'm going to tell you that this was proposed by a researcher called Mr. Joseph Walter. Walter spelled W-A-L-T-H-E-R, okay? And this suggests that online communication can become more intimate than face-to-face interaction. That's why I wanted to talk about it. It's very, very intriguing, very fascinating. So one more time. Online communication can become more intimate than face-to-face interaction. Now, how is that the case? So he suggests that users create their identities and perceive identities, right, on dating apps. And so you can create this, for example, this very cool, smooth, suave, like personality of yourself, even though in real life you might not be like that. So you can act like that personality, like in a computer game, you create your own character and you can act like this character, right? Maybe you have AI open, helping you to find like some very cool phrase. So maybe you just have lots of websites open, you have lots of like song references ready and things like this, which you wouldn't have in real life. And then the person talking to you is so impressed, like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then this person perceives you like this cool, smooth person that maybe in real life you wouldn't really be. And that's one thing, hyperreality, we talked about this before as well. And in return, or in addition actually, you open up more because you keep talking. So you have like longer conversations. And then the longer you converse, the more you open up to each other, right? So that's now the theory of hyper-personal model of computer-mediated communication. Even I struggle with it. One more time. Let me check my notes to make sure I say it correctly. Hyper-personal model of computer-mediated communication. There you go, Mr. Joseph Walter. One more time, breaking it down. Online communications can be more intimate than in-person communication. Why? Because we create our identities of ourselves and of the person you're talking to. In our head, the person you're talking to is amazing. It's like he, she, they are the one that's missing. They're so cool. Oh my God, how are they so cool? I can't wait to talk to them again. And then you keep talking and it's still cool and it's still fun. And you keep opening up more and more. Your conversations are getting longer and longer. They're getting more detailed, more intimate. You open up more, you share more, which you wouldn't do in real life. And in real life, we're getting embarrassed, right? We're blushing. We're like, I'm not going to talk about it. But then in the online world, it's like, come on, it's just us two. You can talk about it. Okay, I'm going to tell you, but don't tell anyone. Okay. And then we open up more, right? So this is incredibly fascinating because we always say the real world is still more real than the online world, of course. But in this case, online communication can actually be more intimate than real world communication. This could also go back to what I said earlier in point number 1, Marshall McLuhan, the medium is the message. The medium might take out the seriousness. Like in real life, face to face, you're like, I'm not going to tell you. You're going to think I'm weird or I don't know, I'm embarrassed. I don't want to tell you. Now it feels more easy. It's less serious. You're like, okay, it's just online. I just tell you. And then we're opening up more and it becomes way more intimate. That can also lead to more intimate interaction, obviously, right? That's also why there are so many exploitations happening, for example. So it can be positive on one hand, you open up and so on, you find great connections. On the other hand, that's how people get exploited because like you have this intimate connection, like, come on, send me this picture, send me that picture. Yeah, okay, sure. And then you might end up getting exploited. So still be careful, right? But this hyper-personal model of computer-mediated communication, say it 3 times fast, is very, 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 very intriguing. I might actually write a paper on that because I find it so fascinating. Okay, so that was theory number 4 of the day. And theory number 5, and if you're watching the broadcast, I was about to say, if you're watching the episode right now, you see me sweating because it was just raining here in Bangkok, and so the humidity is through the roof. And I always turn off the air conditioner when I record to avoid the background noises. So anyways, number 5. Theory number 5 that I prepared for you is just like a more marketing, maybe even related theory. We call it impression management. And I think it speaks for itself, right? It was proposed, everybody proposes it like in different terms. This one, impression management, was by Irving Goffman, but everybody talks about this, right? So it's about how users create their profiles and interactions to present themselves in the best light. And this then leads to another theory we discussed before in a previous podcast, which we call like hyperreality as part of postmodernism, okay? So it's just how you don't upload an average picture of yourself. You upload the best pictures of yourself. You don't just write, hey, what's up? I'm bored on your profile. You write like a very fancy, probably even AI-enhanced profile description, all right? So that's impression management. You want to manage the impression other people have about you. Also, probably want to have an description that fits you, but it also doesn't embarrass you in case someone who you know might see you, for example, right? It's also a big part of how we manage our online personalities. It's not just to impress others, it's also to maintain the image that people that already know us, maybe even colleagues, your parents, friends of parents, whoever, that they have of us, right? So that's impression management, not just impressing, but also managing how people already perceive us. Okay, impression management. And of course, on a dating app, usually we want to appear super cool, super awesome, interesting, whatever. If you really were all that, why are they on a dating app? But if you, right? But that's called impression management. I think if you think about it, how do you yourself manage impressions online on a social media, be dating apps? You probably realize, oh yeah, of course I'm doing it. Everybody's doing it. You're doing it on LinkedIn, for God's sake. I do it on LinkedIn too. Everyone's doing it, right? I mean, I would never do this. What I mean. We all do it everywhere. Okay, impression management. So what next time you're swiping through Tinder, Bumble, Coffee Meets Bagel, to everything owned by Match and all the two others that are not owned by Match, think about it. Everybody's doing impression management. Okay, that's important. Okay, those were 5 theories that influence dating apps, how communication on dating apps works, how dating apps make us use them by gamifying, for example, the whole dating experience. Is that good? Is that bad? I'm not sure. Let me know. What do you think? Does it make dating easy? Because otherwise you would be like, oh my God, I don't know how to talk to the other or the same sex or whatever. Or do you say, no, it gamifies it too much. It should be more serious. People should take it more serious. I don't like it. Let me know what you think. Did you find your soulmate on a dating app? Did you find the love of your life? Did you only find disappointment? Let me know. Shout out in the comments. On Spotify you can comment, or on social media @FunkitPod. Like, share, subscribe, spread the love, because we're talking dating and you want to make me happy, right? Also, leave a review on whatever podcast platform you listen to, because it really helps to spread the love and to reach a wider audience. And that's what we want, because we want to make everybody happy. Thank you very much. Until then, next time, no more dating, more serious. Take care, stay safe, play it safe. Sawadee ka.